Well, guys, it's a great day. It's a great day because our app is finally deployed. We have a solid deploy pipeline built. Now it's time to start adding features so that our app is more useful for users. So a quick recap of what we've done so far. We've created a budget app using Symfony on the back end and React on the front end, and we've deployed that app to to AWS. Now, our budget app looks like this right now. It's pretty simple. Right now, all we can really do is add expenses. And that tallies them up for us. We have this budget selector, but it doesn't actually work. This is just a placeholder. Income streams we're still unable to add, and we don't have a total section that's really this is fake. It's a placeholder. So today we're going to go ahead and just implement a bunch of features so that our app is useful. It's going to be fun. We're going to try and move pretty quick here so that we can go on to more interesting topics. So let's get cracking. I'm going to open up our front-end app first in WebStorm, which is a JetBrains product. It's it's my favorite IDE to use for front-end programming. And we are going to take a look at how the expenses portion of code works and apply it to the income streams part of the budget. And this is a common practice that coders use, is they try to or they take a look at code they've already written, and they try to apply it to new features so that they don't have to spend as much time thinking about creating things from scratch. They can use, since we know expenses and income is modeled pretty similarly, income's just about the opposite of an expense, except it's got this added frequency column. It should be really easy for us to apply what we used, the work we put in to make expenses work, to make our income work. So let's do that. So we're going to go in here. This is our main component here called app, and it's got a subcomponent called budget, where we've added this create new expense method. And we have a lot of debugging code in here. We're going to get rid of this because we don't need it. We can leave these for now. What else might we need? I also think let's try and make this a shorthand function. This should also be on its own line. See how this is on its own line? There's a line break after this comma. Let's just try and keep things clean. But we're going to try and use a shorthand lambda function just to simplify things here. Make sure we didn't break anything real quick. Can we still add what do we popcorn? We can still add expenses, so I think that's okay. So load budget and clear new expense form. So after we posted the new expense, we reload the budget and we clear the new expense form so that we can add another expense. So that makes sense. So we're going to want to do the same thing with income streams. Right. So see, we'll be able to use this same these same functions, probably not the clear new expense form. This will probably be a clear new income stream form, but we'll reuse this load budget. So what we can do is highlight this whole section and hit Command D, and then we just, so that's D for duplicate in this case, and we're just going to call this create new income stream. And I need coffee. Create new income stream is going to use the load budget method, and we're also going to create a function down here called create new or clear new income stream form, and we can go in here and multiple highlight expense new income stream. This also means that we need to go in here wherever we set the initial state, which is right here, duplicate that, and again we're going to highlight, we're going to select multiple. I wonder what that's actually called. That is called, I think it's called multiple select maybe. It's this right here, Control G, add selection for next occurrence, and that makes it really easy to edit multiple occurrences of the same string, obviously. So income stream name, new income stream name. We're also, so we're going to call this from our create new income stream instead of clearing the new expense form, and we need to get that there. Instead of expenses here, we want new income stream, and probably could have done a lot of multiple select here, but we didn't. And then this is going to be income stream here. Eventually, we haven't created this API endpoint, but we're going to do the same thing on the back end where we just copy and paste our create expense endpoint. Create new income stream. I think we are starting to look pretty good here. So now we need to go and let's see, do we already have? We're going to copy this form here. Oh, it looks like we've already copied this form. We have a dummy form here that will actually add expenses. So we can do our multiple select here, and I think, let's give this a shot. I'm hitting Control G to select all occurrences expense right here, income stream, and for whatever reason this did not, this change new income stream name did not work, and it's probably because we have a we have to create these functions right here. We've got to multi-select here, income stream. We'll probably use like a React form library in the future to make this a little less verbose. Right now it takes a lot of keystrokes to build these forms. I'm considering adding like Redux or something, or what is it, Mobix, to manage our state later, and with that we'll be able to use things like React forms, which might help us cut down the total amount of work that we have to do for this project. But anyways, let's go take a look at our forms again. Nothing is blowing up here, and I think we should just about be good. On the front end, I'm going to look at the bar here on the left and just see, okay, nothing wrong there. This is just telling us that this function, this property of the function is not being used. That's not too big of a deal. This is odd that this is complaining at us. And this is complaining at us as well. You know what? I think we forgot to npm save these. So let's go ahead and do that. So from time to time, I like to look at my, you guys can't see it, I'm going to pull it over here. I like to look at this bar right here where the scroll bar is in my IDE, and I can actually see all the errors or warnings available. And it says, if we look at the corner here and we highlight over this yellow box, it says 1 warning found, 6 weak warnings found. So I like to resolve as many of those as reasonably possible, because it really does help keep your code more maintainable in the long run. So that's always a good goal. So we can take a look and see, oh, modules not listed in package dependencies, so that means we need to run npm install with the save flag numeral. I'm pretty sure before what we did is just run npm install numeral, which isn't going to have the same effect. It's not going to add that numeral package to our package JSON. So we're going to add that, and we're going to add request. And I think if we take a look at our package JSON, we're going to see, yeah, there's numeral right there, and then request is going to be soon to follow. What else do we have? This right here. I mean, we can make this, I think we can make this a lambda function and just pass it one argument. Not really necessary. Sometimes I like to leave unused parameters because it shows people what they have available to them here, so that way if somebody knows if they're working on this function in the future, they can come in here and they know that there's a reject callback that they can use. So I think what I'm going to do is actually go into my IDE settings. I'm going to go Alt-Enter, and I'm going to hit over, and I'm going to edit the inspection profile. Now I'm going to disable this inspection, the inspection, because personally this isn't something that bothers me. It's something useful that I think I should be able to leave unused parameters around in some instances, at least. So I think we have cannot resolve. I think, you know what, I think we're actually supposed to import React component. We might need to import that from a different no, maybe not. Maybe we're doing this right. If you guys know what's going on here, leave a comment. We're not going to spend too much time on something so small. But yeah, so now we have added basically, I think, all the code we needed. We do. Oh wait, we've got one extra thing, and if you look, income stream has one difference to expenses. It's got this frequency column. And the frequency column is just something we need to add in addition to all the other fields of the expense. So we can go in here and add new income stream frequency column, and we'll just copy that, put that there, and new income stream frequency. You know, I think we should change the name here, not to column but to frequency. We're going to need to add this to our income stream here, and this will be frequency. Notice the ordering of these. An object, it doesn't really matter what order you put properties in, but I've ordered it logically, name, frequency, amount, to match name. Oh, actually frequency should be before amount, logically, so, or after amount. So I'm going to actually add it after amount, and probably in the code too. It just makes it easier to read. You should really think about, even though it doesn't matter as far as the web browser goes or a compiler goes, it's nice to order your code so that humans, so that people read it in the same way as same way everywhere. So we see name, amount, frequency, and now we see name, amount, frequency, name, amount, frequency, just like that. Name, amount, frequency. So we're going to use that method function right here, and this is going to be new income stream frequency, and then we're going to call create new income stream on submit for that form. This is going to be new income. And our clear function needs to be able to clear the frequency also. So there we go. Now we might actually be done adding our new expense or new income stream feature on the front end. So let's just go to our back end now. Let's make sure that compiled just fine. Looks to be good. Yep, did a good job. Let's go to the back end and add the API endpoint. So we're in our Symfony app. I've opened up PHP Storm for this. And let's go to our budget controller and take a look at the add expense function controller here on our budget controller. So what we can do is highlight everything and hit Command D for duplicate, and that is going to provide us with a duplicate of this add expense. And now we're going to try something pretty crazy, because we are just going to come in here and replace, we're going to multi-select using that Control G, we're going to replace everything, every instance of budget with income stream, and see how close we get to actually having this done. It's going to be close. So one thing we do here is we need to keep the formatting consistent. We don't use this name anywhere right now, but we might in the future. Let's see, parameter income stream ID, that looks good. This, oh, sorry, no, that's not what we wanted to do at all, is it? We don't want to replace budget with, we don't want to replace budget with income stream. We want to replace expense with income stream. So this is going to be, am I right? Am I right? Yeah, this is going to be probably even simpler. So this is going to be income stream. This should be income underscore stream. And I think the rest are camel case, it looked like. So we find our budget, we find the amount, and then let's do expense. Where are they? Really, there's only two portions here. Add income stream. What is this complaining about here? We'll find out. This will be called add income stream. We need to add our frequency, of course. Frequency, and frequency is the third parameter here. Method add income stream not found, so we need to go and add that method. And we'll add it right next to this add expense. So this will be add income stream. Income stream. And is it that? Is it that easy? What do we have complaining up here? We don't. We do actually use this. See, this is being imported right here, so we don't want to heed this warning right here that this is being unused, because it is actually being used. It just doesn't recognize annotations very well, I guess, for some reason. Okay, what else could we need to do here? So let's take one more look over here. So we get the content, we find our budget, our existing budget, and we get the amount, name, and frequency. We should fix our documentation that we created here. We're going to add an income stream with amount, name, frequency, amount, name, frequency, all gets set. Yeah, you know what? We're pretty close here if we're not good to go already. So let's go ahead and see if we can't add an income stream. And it's likely, I mean, it's very possible that we missed something, but it's still worth a shot. So let's say we get some contracting work, and let's say every month we make maybe $500 doing that, just once. Or maybe we should test the frequency and actually go, let's say we make $250 twice a month. And it looks like our contracting work was added just like that. So in probably about 10 minutes, we added this new income stream addition feature. So that's not bad at all. I think our next step probably, so let's go ahead and commit that work since we want to save our work. So let's commit that on the back end. I'm just doing a git diff to see what we've done. You can see that we've made this a shorthand function, added these 3 new fields, added a few methods to manage the state of the new income stream, got rid of some debugging code, made this shorthand function, added this new function called create new income stream, added this clear new income stream form, and then changed the income stream form to use our new functions instead of using the add expense functions. So we're going to git commit, allow users to add income streams, and we'll push that up to GitHub. So that was for our front end. So now let's go to our back end, and we can see that we added this new controller here, the add income stream controller, and we added an add income stream method to our budget class, our entity class. And then we also removed this line because that was ugly. So we can use the same commit message here. Git push origin master. So now we've saved our code. I think that took us less than 15 minutes. I'm not exactly sure. Don't have a timer, but it's pretty reasonable. Now that we've got our expenses, or now that we had our expenses feature worked out, it's really easy to add this income feature. So the next most important thing I would say is being able to budget here. So first thing we need to do is create an endpoint that actually provides us with the budgets, and I think after that we'll create an endpoint. Well, we already have our endpoint that gets the budget, so this should actually be a pretty simple process. So let's go to our Symfony application and let's add, so we have this get budgets action. So in theory, I mean, you could use this get budgets action to return all the budget data to the front end. Maybe, oh no, this is only for one. This is only for one budget. It is. This should really be called get budget action, but we're not going to rename that right now just for, because it doesn't belong in the same request. But what we really want is just the IDs, because we need to be secure. We don't want our other users to be able to well, I guess anybody would still be able to just select a budget ID for now. We don't really have any concept of security now, do we? Trying to think. Yeah, but we don't want to have to do these income stream and expenses queries. So let's just, for now, let's create a function that gets just the budget IDs. So we're going to call get budgets action. And that's not going to have any, any sort of data about income streams or expenses, anything we don't need in it. Let's just copy this full method signature and PHP doc and use it to our liking. So we're going to call this route just get budgets. This should be called get budget. We are going to change this. Sorry, this is crazy. So this is going to be called get budgets, and it's not going to have a budget ID. This is going to be called, or we are going to get our entity manager and our budgets repository, which we set all this stuff up in a previous episode. I think it was the first 4 episodes or so that we did all this stuff with Doctrine and everything. If you guys need to go back and take a look at how we set up the Doctrine ORM, it's in the same playlist as this, the creating a personal finance app playlist, if you guys want to take a look. But we're going to just call and I wonder if there's an easy way. Doctrine get all entity IDs. Let's see if we can just, let's see. I want to find out how we can get all of the budget IDs with only one Doctrine request. But public get keys function. Oh no, I don't think that will. So I think for now what we'll do is we'll just add a to-do that there might be a possible optimization in the future, but for now we're going to call budgets get or find all budgets, and we're going to add a to-do here. Just say make sure this only uses one MariaDB query, because I'm not sure if it does or not, and we'll see. Maybe we'll be able to look in the logger and see if this uses one query or not. All budget IDs though is going to equal all budgets, and we're going to map that. ID is doing something weird here. Budget, and we can type hint this budget. Our second argument to this array map is the array of all budgets. So let's go ahead and just call return budget get ID. And now we have an array of all of our budget IDs. And this should be all we need. So we're going to call this budget IDs or budget underscore IDs or budgets. I think we'll call it budgets for now, maybe. Might get confusing. Budget IDs. And that is going to be our all budget IDs. So now we have an endpoint, in theory, that will get us, we'll call that get budget IDs action. It will give us all the budget IDs available. Good morning.
Morning.
And we can now implement that in our front end so that our drop-down box here uses those IDs, and we can select, instead of calling, right now we have hard-coded selecting budget ID 6. So instead of doing that, we're going to use our drop down to select which budget we want to view. So we're going to add a function here called fetch budget IDs. That doesn't take any arguments. And we're going to copy our fetch budget function here. And we need to go back to our Symfony app and get the route that we created here. It's just /budgets. And I think, well, we can leave this stuff here for now. Alright, so now we need to use this. So we need to add to our state an array of budget IDs, and let's leave a comment here, all available budget IDs. And when the component mounts, instead of fetching budget 6, we want to fetch budget IDs and then budget IDs. We want to call this set state. And we want to set well, this becomes interesting because I think that really this belongs outside of our budget component. This belongs in a separate component here, maybe called budget selection. So I might really need to refactor some of this, because right now our state of this budget component is just the budget. See, it's got income streams and expenses and then all the new possibilities. But what we don't have here is a concept of other budgets. So I think really we should move this to our app component. So let's add that here. In our component did mount function. And we need to add our function fetch budget IDs. And yeah, these are all outside of the scope of the class, so that will just go right there. And we also need to add a constructor here. And I'm doing this from memory, but if you guys need to see how this is done, you just go to the budget component and take a look. But constructor looks like this. So we'll just copy that. Don't have to do work twice. Programming, it's part of the draw of programming. Oh man, the indentation on this is just awful. But that's okay. So our state's going to start out, oh man, I won't indent 2 spaces for me, with a state of just budget IDs, and it's not going to have anything. But now we're going to, I think this is how this works. So it's going to, budget IDs is going to come down as an array, and we're going to set it as a property of our state called budget IDs. I think that is it. Yeah. I think that's all. Next thing we need to do is go into our budget component and grab the drop down bit. So we have this container here and a nav and a main. So I think we're going to pull this whole bit out here, and we're going to pop this in here, and our budget's going to go inside of that, but inside of this new, inside of the app instead of the budget component. So we're just getting rid of these containers in here. What are we complaining about? Oh, I think we're gonna need, this just needs to have a div here. Needs a container div. When you call the render function, it has to all be wrapped in one element, so we use div there. And so here we go. So now we've embedded the select box into our app rather than the budget component. So, okay, request and API host are undefined. We're going to need to import those same as we did in our budget. Those are right here. Go back to our app and just paste that in. And we're still getting errors. Cannot read property bind of undefined. Yeah, okay, makes sense. So submit load budget. Okay. So we want to have this submit load budget method also in our container called app. So we'll add that here. And fetch budget. So all the management of budgets, not the budget managing itself. So the budget adds income and expenses inside of the budget component, but in order to pull up a budget component, we have the app component so that we can select from different budgets and things like that. So we're still needing, and this is good, we're actually separating out all the logic that doesn't have to do with the budget itself, but rather, you know, the whole collection of budgets into the container where it really belongs. So that's good. Where's that fetch budget? There it is. Maybe that really belongs up here. Yep. The formatting's really bad right now, guys. We're gonna have to run a code formatter on this. Sorry. Fetch budget is not defined, and source budget. So we could pass that down as a prop, but I want to see where is fetch budget even being used. Oh, it's being used in our component in mount. I don't think we need any of this anymore, really. We don't need the component in mount at all, but we'll close that out for now. It also, budget IDs is not a concept in budget anymore. It's in our app. We've abstracted everything into the container. Okay, cool. This state budget ID. We do have, though. Whoops. We do have We need a budget ID. And what that really is active budget ID. So this will be the budget ID that's loaded in our budget component. And I think, so budget comes from, we're going to be changing some things around with that too. Let's see. So our select box is complaining about not being able to find this change budget ID function. So let's add that to our app component. Oh man, the spacing's so bad. It's bothering me. Okay, cool. We kind of have something now. And look, we can see that it fetched the budget IDs. Did it, we still need to have that load properly, but so now we want to have our select here load from our API endpoint. Right now these are just placeholders, so let's do let's map over this .state .budget, it's called budget IDs, right? Budget IDs, which gets set after the component mounts. It sets budget IDs on our state. We're going to call this budget options, and then we're going to call map, and we're going to map that to I think the format is this, maybe. XML tag has an empty body. Let's just call that budget, and then I might be mixing some of this up with Angular, but oh yeah, I think that's probably just, I think it's just one bracket. But let's take a look at our template over here to remember what how React templates look. Yeah, I think this is just supposed to be that, but we'll see. So now our budget options, instead of this, we just have this here. And let's see how this works. Yeah, it's not happy about that. This state budget IDs.map is not a function. This state, that's odd because we have state budget IDs right there, don't we? Let's just throw a debugger there and see why that's complaining about map not being a function, because it should be. So we can set const budget ID is equal to this dot state to kind of pull it out of our state, and then let's just throw a debugger there. Let's see what's going on. So budget IDs, it's actually equal to an object, because we're getting the whole response object, and we need to just get that property called budget IDs. So let's pull that out here. Todd's excited for his walk. Do you want to say hi? No.
Hi guys.
Let's see. Oh man, Todd's pissed.
Can I see you 24/7?
What's that?
Can I see you right now?
Yeah.
Oh.
We're live.
Oh. Hi.
We're live on air. I don't know if there's any viewers. There's usually not. It says there's one, but I think that's usually just me watching myself.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay. So body, and then we want to return body budget IDs. Oh wait. Fetch fetch budget IDs, and then we want to resolve JSON to parse body, and then budget IDs. Let's see if that helps. Who knows? Budget IDs is now an empty array, that's right. Are you leaving? Coming back. Okay. Yeah, so there we go. We have budget IDs. It's kind of working now. One thing we need to do is have this unique key prop, which we ran into this in our budget. If you guys remember, if you're new, React requires any iterable component to have this, I believe it's called a key prop, maybe. Budget expenses. How do we do this? I know we ran into this somewhere, but I'm not seeing it. I don't know, we'll keep poking at this. But we have our budgets here, so that's good. I wonder if we can select a budget. That would be cool. Yeah, well, it looks like, or at least it knows when we're changing the state. But now we need to tell our budget component when the ID is changed. So with this, we're probably just going to pass it budget ID equals this.state.budget ID, which I think is what it's called, right? Active budget ID. Another thing we need to do is say when the select box, so when this changes, we change the budget ID, but let's call this change active budget ID for clarity, and this is going to be active budget ID. And we're going to conditionally render this whole budget, I think. We're going to say, I think it's active budget ID, and just how that would work. We don't need this dot state here because we're pulling this out of this state right there. So I think maybe now it will conditionally render the budget. Let's get rid of that debugger code if we haven't already. We did. So now let's. Alright, so that did conditionally render. Our budget doesn't know how to handle that yet, I guess. So budget ID is coming in as a prop right now. Constructor props, this budget ID. Does it? Yeah, it does need to know about itself, doesn't it? Let's see where we use the budget ID here. Budget ID gets used, it comes in, it's using it all at state right now. So let's see if we can just call props. Let's say if we set the budget ID this way. And when does it load itself here? Do we pull out something we shouldn't have pulled out, maybe? Maybe. I think we need fetch budget inside of there. Let's take a look at this warning here, because this is really annoying. Yeah, it just needs a key, I guess. So it needs a key property, this option iterable. So we'll just say key, or let's just try adding a value and see if it uses that as the key. And if it doesn't, that's fine. Yeah, it still wants this key property here, and those are unique because they're IDs. So, all right, cool. We got rid of that warning, which is nice. So I think we're going to need the fetch budget method here. Where do we use this? So, so do we want to push the budget data in to our budget component? I think so. Submit load budget. Where does that get used? Okay, we don't. So on change we submit load budget. So does that mean if I click that, it's going to try and load the budget? I think so. It's kind of, I think when we hit submit, all we want to do, well, it might be nice to keep the budget here. What I'm trying to figure out now is if we want to load our budget from the app component or from the budget component itself. I think from the budget component. I think we actually need to add all this. I think all this submit load budget should do is change the active budget ID. I don't even think we need this form anymore. I think just on the component amount, I think we just re-render that budget component every time the budget ID changes, if that's possible, which I'm pretty sure it is. So we're going to comment this out for now. Fix our indentation now. Indentation's rough on this file, guys. So when we change the active budget ID, I just want to change the active budget ID there. This whole business, this is going to get done here. That submit load budget's not going to be used anymore. Load budget here is going to call fetch budget, which we accidentally took into our app component, and fetch budget. There we go. So now when this is constructed, we are going to call this state. Okay, so this state, we're going to have this as kind of like our, I'm so torn about how to do this, guys. I'm not sure. We'll probably figure out how to do it when we add Redux or something like that to manage state. This is what we want our state to look like initially. Maybe we'll load that first. But then we also want to load our budget with this props.budget ID. I wonder if we even have. We can try calling. I think that should be right. So we'll try calling this load budget. Hey, wow! So our selector works now? Not quite. Doesn't look like it works after the first time. So we need to find out what function of React component called when props change. Need to figure out how we can re-render our component. So we have component updating. Component will receive props. An update can be caused by changing the props or state. These methods are called when a component is being re-rendered. Should component update. React know if a component's output is not affected by the current state. The default behavior is to re-render on every state change. Okay, I don't think that one is what we need. I think what we need is component will receive props. Is invoked before mounted component receives new props. If you need to update the state in response to prop changes, for example to reset it, you may compare this props and next props and perform the state transition using this set state in this method. Alright, so we're going to give this a shot. So I think what we need to do is we need to implement this, and component will receive props. I think next props. I think if we say if next props dot budget ID, sorry, if next props dot budget ID equals this dot props dot budget ID. Or if it does not equal, rather, we need to load the budget for our next props budget ID. Maybe. Let's see. So we changed this to budget ID 6. That works just fine. And then we load this again. It doesn't seem like our budget ID is changing. Let's see what's going on here. So we'll go to budget ID 6. I don't think it got our debugging code yet. Oh yeah, there we go. Next props is now, we should expect to see budget ID 4. Oh, we do. This dot props, budget ID 6. So that should, you would think, reload. Yeah, and it should list load budget. So that comes in there. Load budget just comes from this state. Interesting. So, that's kind of weird. Budget. Okay, so load budget is coming from the state. So what we need to do is set the state, I guess, here. So this would just be load budget, and this would be load budget, but what we need to do is call this set state. Budget ID equals next props dot budget ID, and then maybe load. So there's budget 6. Come in. Not quite. Let's log out this dot state right here. So if we go to budget initially, nothing weird, and there we, all right, so this is going to be our new state, and we might want to actually have a refresh state or something like that. I'm not sure, but it looks like we're definitely passing the same budget. It doesn't look like our budget, our state is updating properly. This is our state, and right there, budget ID is 6. Set state. I think that should be synchronous, right? This state, well, we still see that. Trying to find other instances of us using set state here. Not a lot. Oh yeah, there we go. New expense name event.target.value. Yeah, so it is really that simple. We just call this set state with the budget ID. Next prop.budget ID. Next prop.budget ID is 3. And now our state is still 5, which is Oh, that may have. Okay, so it looks like it's just a little delayed. So I think we need to look at, I think set state has like an asynchronous helper. Set state. I think enqueues changes to the component state. Okay, so it's not synchronous. So we need to call set state and then load the budget. You may optionally pass an object as the first argument to set state instead of a function. This performs a shallow merge of state change to the new state to adjust shopping cart item quantity. Let's see, what is that callback? So it looks like we may be able to put a callback right here. And we probably need to set this load budget here to this.load budget bind this. Oops. And call this load budget here. And we'll see if this does the trick then. So we'll change the budget 6. There's our budget. Change the budget 5. And I think that may have just worked. There we go. So now we're loading budget by ID. Let's get rid of whatever debugger we have still running in here. Maybe, oh, it's just a breakpoint. Remove that. And let's just see how this works. So we're at budget ID 1. Really, this needs to be unselected, I guess. Let's add a default value. Select a budget. Let's see how that looks. So yeah, select a budget. We'll select budget 1, and here it loads. And if we go to budget 6, here's our budget 6, and we should still be able to add another income stream. Let's say we win a scratch card, and we win $10 once a month. We're still able to add our scratch card to our budget. We can go back. Oh, it looks like we need to make sure we don't trigger any callback when we're on that default option. But we can go to budget 5, budget 6, scratch card's still there. So now we have definitely added the ability to change our budget. So with that, I'm going to commit these changes. So this would be, these are our changes to our API. We added this get budgets ID action, git commit, add ability to fetch all budget IDs. And then we'll go up to our My Money Manager, and I think we're going to actually format these files. Let's see if we can get these to look nice again. I want 2 space indents. Reformat code. Okay, this is still using 4 space indents. Change indentation. WebStorm. You can edit how your code looks. How to make text indent. Changing indentation. Do you have any editor config files anywhere in the path of that file? I wonder. Doesn't look like it. Indentation. There we go. I want that to be 2. So now, if we highlight everything and do Command Option L, no, not quite. Well, maybe in the future it'll be indented properly. I don't know. This is super annoying, but I don't want to waste time fixing the indentation with you guys. So we're going to commit our changes. This was a big one, if you look, because we moved a lot of things, a lot of the logic of managing the budget to the app component. So now the app component is responsible for selecting the budget, and the budget is responsible for loading itself and adding income and adding expenses. Where before the budget was responsible for actually sort of like selecting itself. We moved all that into the app itself. Add ability to select budget. Origin master. So in less than an hour, I think now we have added the ability to change the budget here. This go button doesn't actually do anything yet, but maybe we'll just remove it. I don't know. And we've also added the ability to add income streams. And it really was quite a breeze. So let's go ahead and deploy everything now. So we're going to need to deploy our front end and our back end. For our front end, we just run npm run deploy. And if you guys want to see, or sorry, I guess we need to build first, npm run build. If you guys want to see how we did this, take a look at the previous few videos. I think it's like parts 8 through 10, maybe 7 through 10, about building and deploying our applications. We made it really easy. We deploy on AWS. It's dirt cheap to keep hosted on there, and really stable. So take a look at the last few episodes if you like it. As always, if you like this video, subscribe, leave your feedback. Really trying to improve the channel. So if you guys have any ideas, comments, or any kind of feedback, basically, just so I'm running deploy here. Just leave them in the comment box, and I will respond to every single comment. So your feedback is greatly appreciated. Alright, so we've deployed our front end app, and now we need to go to our back end, and we need to run our build script. While it's building, I'm going to tell you about some ideas that I've had for possible segments after we complete this budget app. One idea I was thinking about was possibly working on an open source repository project, and either adding a feature to that open source project or fixing a bug of that open source project live on camera. I don't know if that's something that interests you guys. If it is, definitely leave a comment. It sounds like a good idea to me, but I mean, what do I know? Also, had the idea of creating a plugin for like a video editor that automatically bleeps out the F word. Oh, we need to run get login here, or something like that. Yeah, so really, sky's the limit here, guys. Want to create some cool content with you guys. So yeah, we're pushing up our back-end code base up to Amazon right now, and then deploying is going to be as simple as let's see, deploy commands here. All we need to do is list the running tasks and stop, which there should only be one in our cluster. We just need to stop the one that's running, and then it's going to refetch our most recent container. So there we go. So it's stopped. Let's go take a look and see if our changes are there yet. They're probably not quite there yet. Yeah, let's see. Actually, oh, maybe this is oh, deploy doesn't. Oh. Where are we pushing this? MMM. Trying to find the bucket we use, and it's My Money Manager 2. Do we need to fix our deploy command? Maybe. Yeah. There it is. There's our changes, and we can see, can we still add investment income? Let's see. Scratch cards, $10 3 times a month. Yes, our changes are live, just like that. So build and deploy took less than 5 minutes, I want to say. So definitely, if you guys are interested in that, check out the last few videos. Thanks for watching, guys, as always. Again, feedback's greatly appreciated. Subscriptions are appreciated as well. Have a great day.